Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I just got finished looking at a video popped up in my on my homepage in YouTube. Actually, it's on the NBC News page, so if you can see this you can see this video. It's out there if you go to NBC News. They have their own channel on YouTube, and it looks like I don't know. It's I don't know what the name of the show is, but the title of the article is Longtime Friend of Quote Unquote Diddy Accuser Speaks Out. And this was posted on December 21st. So that's when this was posted. And I'm gonna make a few comments here too. Um, the reason I'm bringing this up is this. So basically, it's a friend of Cassie's, but she's also in the music business. I think she's a writer. So she's basically just kind of detailing what she saw. And there were just a few things that stood out to me in what she's saying. And once again, I'm not saying that Cassie's wrong. I don't know what she went through or what she did not go through. So I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to let the courts play that out. I'm not going to kind of participate in the, court of public opinion. And I know a lot of you people will be mad. I don't care because my thing is I'm not on the, and I don't have inside knowledge. All I know is what he said, and it can't go just because somebody pays somebody off doesn't mean anything. It could mean everything, and it could mean nothing. It could just mean you don't want your dirty laundry getting aired out there, and whatever proclivities he has, he doesn't want to be embarrassed. I would probably pay the money, or it could also mean that he is culpable and guilty of 99 point whatever percent of the things that she says. I don't know. The only thing that I want to focus on in this article is this, because I hear this thrown out a lot. This term that's come up where people just are kind of demonizing men. And of course, about me being a man, of course, I guess maybe you could say I'm feeling some kind of way about it, more so than probably others. But in when this lady's being interviewed, Cassie's quote unquote friend, the lady in the music industry, I forget her name. I'm not looking at the article. I mean, I'm not listening to the YouTube channel right now. But she basically says that he groomed. They keep using this word grooming, and they throw this word out a lot. Like, it's always, in order to make people feel like victims, and particularly women, in order to make women feel like victims, they have to say, well, he groomed her. Like this guy's just some kind of total, just, you know, I don't know, pervert, whatever, this vicious monster grooming people. And he may be a monster. I don't know. But, and from what people are saying, even with Gene Deal, even, people that know him, it could be true. But I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about a lot of men. Just because an older man dates a younger woman, it's always he was grooming her. He was grooming her. And if they act like these women don't have minds of their own. They act like, on one hand, I'm hearing that women are smart and educated, they can do anything in the world, and they have all these superpowers. But then at the same time, they're just getting groomed and finessed by men, and they're under these mind controls. So, I mean, maybe that's their weakness. Maybe every superhero has a weakness. Superman had kryptonite, unbreakable. Bruce Willis is unbreakable. He didn't like water. I don't know. But maybe women's, they do have these superpowers, and their kryptonite is just every time a man starts talking, they just fall into a spell. I have no idea. But just because a woman is younger doesn't mean a man is grooming her. It just does. You don't hear these terms thrown out about women grooming men. Another thing I wanted to talk about too is because I had this female on, she actually worked with me, and she actually gave me her number one day, which I thought was pretty interesting. This was a couple of years ago. And she and I actually went out, but this was a couple of years ago. But I started watching because I was just looking her up. So, you Google people and you look them up. So there was a few videos on her. And she's into this space of, I guess in this zone advocating for, in this feminist zone. And then she was doing this interview, and then she was talking about how men it went from physical abuse to verbal abuse, then it went to financial abuse. And I'm like, financial what? Are men hitting women with pennies or smacking them in the face with $1 or $20 bills? I'm confused. But of course, I knew where she was going with it. But it was like, okay, so now they're using everything. And even this lady in that's talking about Diddy, she mentioned something about verbal abuse. And so it's all of these terms that make people feel like monster. They use this term grooming, 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 and then she started talking about verbal abuse. Well, newsflash, lady, everybody verbally abuses. You know how many times I've been verbally abused? I get verbally abused from by kids. Kids verbally abuse me. Kids will shame you. Kids will fat shame you, ugly shame you. Kids will all kind of shame you. You get it from kids, female kids, male kids. You get it from women. You get it from men. People are verbally abusive people. Newsflash: human beings are not nice people. They're just not. That's why you don't see people wanting to come outside or talk to each other. It's sad. It's really sad that there's 8 billion people on planet Earth and there's so many people that are lonely, because the only time other people want to talk to other people is when somebody can do something for them. Man, if somebody comes into some money, then all of the people come out and want to be best friends. Man, if somebody knows how to make money and was successful at running some kind of online business or successful at doing something, then people want to come around and get the information. How did you do that? How did you do? And they're your best friends, and they talk more to you than they ever did in the past 39,000 years that they knew you. And then as soon as they get the information that they need, they go off and they buy. It's so many people are just not nice. So when I hear this stuff, and I'm not trying, once again, I'm not defending him, and I'm not, trying to crucify him. And I'm talking about Puffy, Sean Combs. But the thing that I do not like is for people to start throwing around in just an everyday conversation that a woman was groomed. She was groomed. I did that. Doesn't you can only the thing? And then when a man gets groomed, then he should have known better. Well, how could he be so stupid? Well, how come the same thing? We're not saying the same. People, you have common sense, and I don't care. You can talk about people. Well, she was young. Listen, you don't give young people enough credit, because these young kids know what they're out here doing. You got some young people that will lie about their age just to meet certain people. And you got some people that are young, they will manipulate you, and they know how to manipulate the system. There's some young people, man, see, you can't go off of age. Just because somebody is a certain age doesn't mean they don't have common sense. I know a lot of adults who don't have more common sense than a 10-year-old, and I know some 13-year-olds that have more common sense than a 55-year-old. It all depends upon every individual is different. But I'm just saying this is that when I hear these terms like verbal abuse, and they only apply to men, physical abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, well, aren't women financially abusive? They make just as much money as you do, if not more, and they demand that you take them out. They demand that you, in order for you to talk to them, in order for you to even be considered a candidate to date, you have to buy their groceries. You have to give them $200 for their time. I saw one video where a girl requested somebody and the guy cashed her because he missed the date, and he gave her $200 for her time, or $100. So this is where so these women aren't verbally and financially abusive. No woman wants to speak out against these women. No, women can slap the heck out of men. I know a female, she bragged that when her husband asked for a divorce, she slapped him and threw water in his face in a public restaurant. And then she was sitting up there telling me the story, laughing, and then going to laugh and say, how can I hurt him? Look at me, and look how small I am. I can't hurt him. But you slapped him and then threw water in his face in public. And that's not abusive. So once again, we go back to this whole thing of, if a woman hits a man, it's okay, it's funny, people cheer, you go girl, yes, you're showing your power. But then if a man turns around and does the same thing to her, you know you're not supposed to do that. Look how big you can hurt her. And and then when a woman hits a man, I didn't hurt him. But then in the same breath, You turn around and a woman will say, I'm stronger than a man. I can do anything more than a man. We're just, so make your mind up. If you're stronger than a man and you can do more than a man, how come you can't hurt them? But then at the same time, he can't hit you because he'll hurt you, and you can hit him because you can't hurt him. It's confusing. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even compute. And I'm not advocating for people to put hands on anybody or everybody should be keeping their hands to themselves. But what I'm tired of is I'm tired of hearing these stories about just making men seem out to be these monsters and predators when women do the same thing. Women are just as verbally abusive, and men know I'm telling the truth, and you women know I'm telling the truth. You're verbally abusive. The first thing you want to do in conversations when you get mad at a man is emasculate him, talk about he's not good in bed. Look at what's going on with Zion Williamson. His side chick, I think it was Zion Williamson. Yeah, his side chick gonna come out and talk about put the sodas down, do some jumping jacks, and do some cardio, and basically now she's fat shaming him. If a man did that to a woman, he'd be the worst thing on planet Earth. And then she also said, and you're like bad, and she hinted that he was bad in bed. Women love to emasculate a man, insinuate that he's gay, or just flat out say he's not good in bed, or flat out say that he has a small appendage, and they have no shame with doing this stuff. Or they can love to talk about our physical deficiencies and how ugly we are, but we can't do it back to them. Or we choose not to, but if we did it, we would be the worst things on planet Earth. But you don't hear these feminists talking about that. You don't hear Gayle King talking about that. You don't hear Oprah Winfrey talking about that. You don't hear any of these women on any of these talk shows that always talk about woman, woman, woman. You don't hear any woman on The View talking about that. Well, I don't watch The View, but maybe they do. So let me just hypothetically say, I don't think that they do, but maybe they do. I don't know. But all I want to say is, let's stop with using the terms grooming. Let's stop with using the terms financial abuse, verbal abuse, all of this stuff. Mind your business. Let this Cassie stuff play out in the court. Well, it's not, because he's already settled and he's going to settle with more. But everybody else, let's just stay out of it and let's stop the coverage on it. It's over. It's done with. Let the courts and obviously these people will settle, and the people who were wrong, they should come forward, and the statute of limitations will allow them to come forward, and people will come forward. But everyone else just needs to stop their opinions on the subject matter. So that's all I wanted to say about this. This is the Political Brown Kid. I hope everyone's having a good day. Be well.